Welcome to Mike on Much. We're recording this on a Tuesday morning. There is a lot going on this morning. There is a lot going on in the studio right now. Oh, we got a new theme song, it feels like.
Yeah, the Scorpions are in town tonight, baby.
This is Rock You Like a Hurricane.
Yeah, do your morning show bit.
Oh, welcome to Mike on Much. I'm, what was it? Maniac Mike on the mic. No, I'm not good at this.
You did it really good before.
Well, we were just messing around.
Okay.
So for our listeners today in the studio, we have me. I'm your host, Mike Veerman. We have my friend and trusty producer, Max Kerman. We have our pop culture aficionado, Shane Cunningham. And joining us, I don't even know how many times he's been on our show now, but to settle a dispute that we have was made very public on Instagram recently, we have the Nut.
Yo.
Yep, and we have Erica working the ones and twos, but she does have a microphone.
Because the Nut is here, he took the fourth mic. Erica, how's it going?
Very good. How are you guys?
Good. You just take the bus in from Hamilton?
Yes, I did.
I heard you were on the same bus as Shane.
We were, but we didn't see each other. Where do you sit? On the bottom?
Top. Bottom's for people with disabilities. I hope you weren't on the bottom.
No, I was up top.
Okay. Yeah, in the middle of the top.
Okay, I sit near the front.
Okay.
You're first off if you sit near the front. Maybe that's why I beat you.
Okay, yeah. And you took the streetcar. I walked.
Mm-hmm.
Hard-hitting questions to start the show.
That's right. I have a question off the top here. Nut.
Yo.
Everybody that follows us knows your real name now. They know what you do. I mean, we used to just sort of like hide your identity. Should we just keep referring to you as Nut, or like is it okay if we slip and say your real name?
Yeah, I don't really care.
I like keeping the charade. It's radio, you know.
It's Nut. Yeah, exactly.
It's just Nut.
It's showbiz,
The Nut.
baby.
Yeah,
Showbiz.
that's right.
So a lot is going on. We were going to talk about a bunch today. First, I got to say that this week at Canadian Music Week, I'm going to be sort of opening and then doing a Q&A with the audience for Dave Grohl and his mother, Virginia Hanlon Grohl. She has a book coming out called From Cradle to Stage, and that's going to be awesome. Like, Dave Grohl's coming to Toronto. His mom's coming to Toronto. She's written this book about what it's like to be a rock star's mom, and I'm going to be hanging with them for CMW at...
How many likes do you think you get on the photo with you and Dave?
Oh, right. I'm going to probably get a photo with
You've
Dave.
thought about that, right?
I didn't. I swear to God,
Really?
hand to heart. No, I haven't. There's been so much going on this week. Also, like, the Raptors are in the heart of a very heated battle. I don't really think about much but basketball these days, Max.
Do you think
And
you'll
I have
get
a child.
more likes if his mom's in the photo with you guys, or would you prefer to be like, just me and Dave?
Yeah, no mom for sure.
I would never do that in a million years. How would you even execute? Come on, please. I want a photo with the mom and Dave. You're ruthless enough to somehow work that
I would
out.
do that. But that subject matter is funny to me when you're like, when you want to get a photo, but there's like somebody who's like kind of just like happens to be in the room and you don't even really know them. They're like, I'll get in the photo too. And you're like, I'm kind of ruining the photo. You've thought about this, Shane.
Well, Alex is really good at Photoshop now. So she can literally place herself anywhere, Photoshop anyone out. Like, it's amazing.
Oh, wow.
So you do the photo with both and then Photoshop
Take 'em out,
But
yeah.
I mean, really, what's interesting about this is his mom, Virginia, is the star. She's the author. She wrote the book. And originally, I was going to do the Q&A with her. She was going to be the one at Toronto. And then they're like, actually, we're not going to use Mike out. Dave's decided to come and do it. And we're like, oh, well, okay, I guess he's a more important person than me to be asking the questions and more appropriate.
So
really.
have you thought about, I mean, we'll talk about this, but how you're going to kind of insert yourself into the situation? Because you're going to introduce them. You're going to host the Q&A with the crowd.
Yeah. I kind of come on, I come in at the top, I introduce them, they do their thing, then I come on at the end, and then I facilitate the Q&A with the audience, which, again, I'm just happy to be in the building,
Well, as you know, Mike, I pick and choose the interviews I'm going to show up for. And I'm definitely showing up for this one.
Yeah.
And I'm quite pleased with myself because Arkells happened to be opening for The Who the night before in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So that's such a good talking point with Dave. I'm like, hey, Dave, how's it going? Yeah, we met before. Just hanging out with Roger and Pete. Just like Who? I'm like, oh, The Who? And we played with them last night. No big deal. So I'm equipped with that.
That's
Wait,
pretty
are
good
you
thing
gonna
to
be
come
on stage with Mike?
No, but I'll be hanging out back there looking for the fucking photo, as we
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And somehow the photo will end up just being Max and Dave, and me and Virginia will be out of the photo. That's
It's
how
you taking the photo?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be taking the photo of them three, and I'll be erased from history. Okay, so that's happening. Please come check it out. CMW is this great thing that happens, obviously, here in Toronto. Great for music. Lots of other things are going on. So we did see Avengers Endgame. We were talking about that we were going to review it today. I don't think that's happening. Shane and I saw it. Maxie, did you see it?
Did not see it.
Erica, did you see it?
I did not.
Well, Shane,
It was a cool movie.
I loved it.
I liked it, yeah.
it was
Save
so
it,
good.
save it.
Yeah, we're not going to go deep
Okay.
at all. I just wanted to let the people know.
Yeah.
This. I feel like it's even better than your typical superhero movie. You don't even have to see the other ones.
Yeah, everybody's raving about that one.
Feels real good.
Yeah.
I feel like Game of Thrones in their episode The Long Night could have taken some notes from old Game of Thrones Endgame. And in fact, I feel like George R.R. Martin, the author of Game of Thrones, threw some shade at this season of Game of Thrones by praising Avengers Endgame, and he goes, it was so amazing how they managed to do that battle and serve all of those characters. They did them all justice.
Oh.
So amazing to see that pulled off, while not commenting at all about the last big episode 3 of Game of Thrones. A little bit of gossip for you there. Wow. Okay, so before we get to our topics, which today are going to be the Met Gala, the royal baby, and then I think we're going to talk a bit about Louis C.K., who might be going back on the road again. Before that, the reason the Nut is here is because there was some controversy. Last Saturday, we were all out at a Raptors game, Game 1, Philly Raps, in Toronto. The Nut was not here in Toronto with us. It's a rare time where we were at a Raptors game. He wasn't there. He was in Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I was notified to this because in our group chat, my phone started blowing up. And now, should I frame the thing, or did you just want to get into it, Nut? I mean, from your perspective?
Let's just get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Nut famously is good at getting us into things. So we should set the scene there. And that, like, every time we need to get into a bar or we might need a ticket hookup of some sort, the Nut is very helpful in facilitating that.
He's had a couple epic failures though. But,
Oh, I knew it.
What are the epic failures?
when we've been going around and he's groveling, trying to get us into a place, and they won't let us in. He's like, I can't believe this. This is ridiculous. I don't like this bar anyways. And then we go to another bar, and then we can't get in there.
Has that actually ever happened?
When we were on-
he's better.
The
than
one
that.
time
His
we were on
success rate-
King Street.
He's pretty good on King Street.
Okay, well, he wasn't this time.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I'd say your success rate, to your credit, Nut, is very high. So anyway,
Suck it,
I
Shane.
get a phone call or a text message at 7:22. I'm at the Raptors game. I'm sitting with my dad, and he's like, "Hey, Max, I need to get into odds." Now, for our listeners, I'm a minority partner in a Hamilton sports bar called Odds. Shout out to Odds. Go to Odds. Check it out. And
Not if you're Birchall, apparently.
yeah, and
Yeah, good luck getting in.
well, this is it. And it happened to be the night of, I think there was a Leafs game and a Raptors game, or was it just Raptors?
It was just the Raptors game 1 against Philly.
Yeah, so this is kind of peak hours.
It's a Saturday night.
It's a Saturday night, peak hours for a sports bar. It's a small place. There's about 40. It's about 40 capacity, and it's 7:22. And you say, "Hey, I'm with my family in Hamilton." There's 10 or 12 of us.
There was 10 of us.
10 of us.
And we're large people generally.
And I need to get into odds. I want to take my and he's like, "Can you help me out?" And I said, "Oh God, I just know it's going to be busy." So I call odds. Well, I sent a bunch of frantic text messages to the other owners, and the bar staff. No one's getting back to me.
Frantic text.
I was like, "Yo, anybody get back? Can anybody give me a hand with this thing?" And by the way, I've never called in a favor there because I'm just kind of a cheerleader for that place.
Because who would ask for a favor at a bar and grill? It's also not a place you call in a favor for.
Right, but I needed to in this particular case because
Business is booming, apparently. at
business
odds.
is booming for a sports game, and
the real sports of Hamilton, if you will.
So they're like, "Yo, just call the people working." So I actually called the bar. You can tell it's super loud there because they're in the middle of a big.
You can hear the Nut outside going, "Let me in!"
Groveling, as Shane would say, to get in.
And it's our friend Amy, who we all know, who's worked.
Oh, she was the server there.
She was the
Oh,
server.
okay.
And
Amy
Love Amy.
stonewalled me?
Amy Stonewall. And
Wow.
Amy is the best. You love Amy.
I
We
do
all
love
love Amy.
Amy.
Amy is probably one of the star bartender servers of Hamilton. Everybody knows her, and she's very
Great gal.
good and fair. Great gal. And I said, "Hey, Adam's there with his family. Is there any way we can get him in?" She's like, "We have a line out the door." And again, it's a small, tiny place. It's not just standing room. It's they're all tables.
I know how much you make.
So
I didn't
anyway-
tell you to buy a small bar. You could have afforded a larger bar.
Well, anyway, and so I told him I couldn't do it, and now you're mad at me because
It's bullshit. It's not controversy. It's bullshit. I don't really ask for much from this group of people. And, contrary to Shane's play-by-play, I mean, you go out once every 3 years anyway, so
That's
I'm not
true.
sure where you would have been to see us not be able to get in
Well, the
somewhere.
one time I went out, I didn't get into.
Oh,
anywhere.
really? Yeah, that's interesting.
You don't remember it was on King Street and you were groveling?
None of those things ring a bell. No, but
right.
sure, okay, groveling
Yeah.
for sure. But I just think I've helped your band get into the fucking Olympics for God's sakes, and I can't get into a bar and grill. I find it a little preposterous.
The Olympics is pretty exclusive.
And
That is true.
right.
Well, what are they supposed to do? Break fire code and kick families
Yes.
out and let you in?
That's right.
That's the
Yeah,
expectation.
I just feel like we take care of one another, and to not be able to get in to grab some nachos at my pal's bar.
The issue is that it was 7:22. if you'd given me a little bit more heads up
Yeah.
for a 7:30 reservation, if you were like, hey, 4 o'clock, I know it's gonna be busy, but I was like, okay, we can figure out a way to make that happen. 7:22, we're literally booting people out of the restaurant to have you. That's not a good look.
See, this is what I hate about you. You have like that kind, nice demeanor, so it's impossible to get mad at you without sounding like an asshole. But just like the amount of outrageous requests that you send me, like who do we know at the White House? Or I get like the most outrageous requests from you of all time. And then like I'm like, oh, you know what? Like Max has a new bar. I had a family pub crawl and everyone was out and excited. I was like, well, Max has a new bar. I'll take you there. They've got great nachos. And I couldn't get in for 5 minutes to have a nacho at your bar.
That, to be fair, that is a pretty accurate impression of me.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Who do we know at the
But
White
literally,
House?
like a couple
Like,
of weeks
who do
ago,
we
he's like,
know at
Birchie,
in the-
how do I get a hold of Bill Simmons? And what happened?
Yeah,
Got you a hold of Bill Simmons.
What'd you do with Bill?
No, nothing. But I was curious if we knew anybody.
But he made the connect.
Yeah.
So
true.
I'm sitting in the Raptors game trying to watch, and the phone starts blowing up in the group chat. And the nut says Max can't even get me into the bar he owns. He goes, after all the things I do, hey, can you get my family in odds, please? And I get a no. And then he has the palm on the face. Says, as you can imagine, I am furious. Max goes, it's the 10 of you that makes it difficult. Nut goes, I got 30 champagne boys into Belfast at midnight on St. Patrick's Day. Don't give me your shit.
Yeah. Why are we? I don't know.
That's true. I mean, that was a
And then
real
Dan
coup.
Hamilton goes, and Belfast is tight on those fire regulations.
Shout
and then
outs.
Burchill, all caps, tight.
It was an embarrassing moment for me. It wasn't as embarrassing as this King Street groveling
That was
incident
bad,
that Shane brings up. But
I've never seen you so
well,
desperate.
So it's funny because the problem is I'm also very loose with my relationships. So on like I don't care who like you guys know, if you guys can then use people I know to get favors. Like I don't need to be the gatekeeper at all. So then yesterday or Sunday or whatever day the Raptors game was, Max, who was just like burning through every favor in this city to get Raptors access during this playoff run.
Am I?
Yeah, big time. There's like you're at every game for free.
This is some truth to that.
Shooting 100 in the city.
Yeah.
Are you going tonight?
I had tickets. I have to go to a dinner tonight.
Were those
Did you
tickets?
scalp them?
No, they were.
Were
You have
those-
to give them back if you don't use them when
yeah.
you're in the free club over
That's
here.
right. Those tickets were going to be free tonight.
Yeah.
That's right. So then on Saturday or Sunday, whenever the game was, we were going to go. We went to the park. It was Bobus's birthday, and manager Ash, had set up like a wonderful picnic thing or whatever. And Max and Greg wanted to watch the game at
Real Sports.
At Real
because
Sports.
You suggested it.
I suggested it.
The odds of Toronto, if you will, a little bit bigger, fits more than 40 people, and I can get into it. So
It's like 300 people.
yeah,
It's the bar connected to the Scotiabank Arena.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then what did you realize you were not able to do?
Well, no, I got the hookup.
No, but you wouldn't call me because
Oh, yeah.
normally you would come to me for that
Oh,
favor.
this is very true. I'm afraid of asking Burchell for any favors now. This is sort of the state of our relationship because typically, I'd be like, hey, Helen, can you hook us up with this thing? But I know he's mad
You
at
call
me.
him Helen.
Yeah, I call him Helen.
His name's Adam Burchill. You call him Helen Birdhill.
Helen Bird.
I don't know why.
It was a drunken
Why does he
typo.
do any favors for you ever?
It's an affectionate name. You call me Macy. I call you Helen.
Yeah,
It
I like
started
it.
in Memphis.
Yeah, but there was an infamous MMVA shout out I got that you thanked Helen as part of your thing.
Oh, that's right.
And then nobody knew. I got no equity out of the public thank you
That's-
because nobody knew who the
He
fuck
was
Helen
standing
was.
outside the awards with 9 of his family.
Yeah,
and he couldn't.
couldn't
and he,
get in.
he didn't even get the thank
He's like,
you.
he thanked a Helen, didn't thank an Adam.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Did get the trophy though, right, Shane?
You did.
I did.
Yeah, congrats on
no,
that.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Speaking of getting into bars, I was out a few weekends ago, and our friend acted in your place basically
Yeah.
because you're the kind of guy who'd get us into a thing. And he went up, he said some code words to the guy, the bouncer, and we walked right in. So
So
basically, you need somebody for your listeners out there. You need somebody in your crew to be the confident person
And know a code word that we're not allowed to say.
Yeah, well, to be able to speak that language, I guess.
Maybe I'm not as good at getting into places as I thought.
Nah, you are good though. You're very good.
So you know a code word.
Something like that. Why don't we? Why do you never? Oh, you're coming out tonight though. That's the rumor on the street.
The rumor's true. I paid for tickets tonight.
Yeah, sucker. But you're staying in Toronto. There's
Yeah.
real. The city is a buzz that Shaney Boys on the town.
It's true.
Well, yeah, the rumor's true.
A
It's out
buzz.
there. Yeah, this episode's out today. People come out and say hi.
Yeah. We're very excited. Shane, myself, our friend Sean Dawson, and our friend Matt McPeak are going to the game tonight, the 4 of us. Nut will be there.
And Sean, Peake, and Shane, for that matter, never come out in Toronto. So it's
great.
it's a pretty exciting night for everybody.
Sean and Shane are getting tattoos tonight at 5 o'clock before
You mean
the game.
Snake and Snake are getting tattoos?
They get matching tattoos.
It's a code word for snake
Where,
tattoos we're getting.
Where are you getting the tattoo?
I don't know.
No, he means like. Did you mean on his body or the place, the establishment?
No, on his body.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe there's some space here.
Oh, the listeners love love that.
pointing
Pointing at
that's
my
it.
body for the listeners.
Yeah.
No, my arm.
Okay, great.
Left
Okay.
arm.
Well, to bring some closure to this before we move on to the topics, Maxie, Nut, like where's this stand? Nat, do you still feel put out that they're not being respected?
You must know it was impossible. It was an
No,
impossible
I plan on
situation.
holding a grudge for. It's like the iPad incident before the Olympics.
Let's not get into that. We're
Yeah,
not gonna talk about
exactly.
that.
Where you
Yeah.
stole my free iPad. Yeah.
Okay. Here's the deal.
We're not getting into that because that's not the truth either.
Well,
Anyway,
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, here's the deal. Here's what I would say. In this specific instant, nobody would take your side, Nut. You had 10 people at a bar with a 45
it's true.
person
You
capacity.
lose in the Twitter poll by 100%.
by
I
like-
would lose in a Twitter poll to you for any topic.
No, people are rational and they just wouldn't take sides with you. Sorry,
But as
Mike.
an overall trend, you may have a case that Max does get so many great things because of you, and it's not getting paid back to you.
I say let's let the people decide. Let's put
Sure.
it. Let's
In
do a
this
Twitter
specific
poll.
instant, you're going to lose hard, man.
Yeah, but I will admit
'Cause
that
you'd
you
have to
have been
kick
very
people out.
helpful in many ways, and you deserve a lot of credit for that too.
I don't
Would
want
you
the
say
credit.
it's easier to get into the Olympics than odds?
History would tell us it is.
Sample size, baby.
That being said, the gold medal in nachos odds. So
Yeah.
check it out if you can. You have to go at like 11 a.m. on a Tuesday to get in the joint. But
Get in.
Hey, business is thriving, baby.
Is it doing good?
We could do a little better, but
So people go check it out,
Yeah.
and if you can't get in, just
yeah, James Street South, James and Augusta.
Tweet-
Take
tweet at Max.
rezos or first come first serve?
Don't even know if we do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really hands-on businessman. Over
I
there.
know. Well, you know how I run things, generally speaking.
do you get a tab? Is it like a Goodfellas type movie where you just waltz in and get whatever you want and then walk out?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I like that you don't even know that.
Yeah, no, I do, but I'm not there that often. You have to talk to Nick. That's a Nick question. Nick in our band is also part of
How
it.
skinny he is, he doesn't eat anything from
I
odds.
know. He's just drinking soda water all day.
There's a chin-up bar in the back, probably.
Well, everybody, keep your chin up. We're gonna get through this as friends.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you came on. But stick around. Let's talk about topics. All right.
Topics.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here on Freedom, we like to talk about lots of things. So we're going to start with the Met Gala.
Mm-hmm.
People love the damn Met Gala. This is Anna Wintour's big thing. She gets to handpick the guest list. Is that the deal?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know anything about the Met Gala, honestly. I thought it'd be funny for a bunch. Do you guys know anything about the Met Gala?
Wait, is this because I sent that picture of Harry Styles?
Kind of. And
Yeah,
Ash
isn't
was
it?
like, I love the Met Gala. I thought it would be interesting to talk about the Met Gala because on Instagram, every celebrity is like posting photos of times they've been to the Met Gala, like leading into the Met Gala, and it's an interesting example of celebrities like trying to show off more than usual or show that they're part of this or they at one point were part of this exclusive club. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you get a hint of that more than any other celebrity event? Like, it's one thing to go to the Grammys or the Oscars or whatever, but this is like super rarefied air that I feel like celebrities. It's like when bands like, well, this was us at Coachella a couple years ago or whatever, like that kind of thing. Like, we got to go.
Yeah, the Met Gala, formerly called the Costume Institute Gala, is also known as the Met Ball, is an annual fundraising gala for the benefit of the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute in New York City. It marks the opening of the Costume Institute's annual fashion exhibit. Each year's event celebrates the theme of that year's Costume Institute exhibit, and the exhibition sets the tone for the formal dress of the night, since guests are expected to choose their fashion to match the theme of the exhibit. So I believe it's like this extremely exclusive, like hand-picked guest list. Like, I don't think the Nut could get anybody into that.
No, I probably couldn't. Although it's funny you say that. It's like bands talking about Coachella. Like the Met Gala is Coachella for rich celebrities, essentially.
Yeah, totally.
Because like in April, everyone's Instagram feed is just people who at one point went to Coachella, and it's like, take me back,
Yeah, of
Coachella, whatever. And it's literally the celebrity version of that. So hot take.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is kind of a bunch of bullshit because the theme of the night was camp, right? It was like a camp theme, and not one person was dressed at all like a camper. Like, I think Katy Perry showed up in a fucking chandelier.
Like camp, like outdoors
No, I think
sleeping,
it was
or
like
campy, like cheesy, like Batman Poom Pow.
I think that's what it was.
I
I don't know
that's-
what the hell anybody looked like.
I think it's like campy, like cheesy,
Oh, well, that's even...
not camping like tense.
I was looking forward to s'mores and shit like that.
Well, the thing that set this off ultimately was that Harry Styles showed up in a very androgynous, or like his outfit was not gender specific. If anything, it leaned more, I guess, female, and it was like this kind of lace piece that was an interesting look. And I don't know, is the internet making fun of him?
Harry Styles?
Yeah, are they championing him? Is it a bold
I think
choice?
the more absurd, the better. Like, I was going through the photos this morning, and it was just like the craziest, like Tim Burton looking costumes ever. Like, so I think that's the point. And I think this year was especially absurd. I don't think other years the theme has been camp, whereas like you're supposed to dress up like you're in a Tim Burton movie. Like this year, people were really being wacky.
I think every year it's like this, though.
To this degree, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why this event is such a
No,
visual.
I know people get dressed up and look really.
I think every year it's over the top Lady Gaga stupid shit.
Yeah, meat dresses and things like that. Yeah. Except,
Well, the reason I thought this was a funny topic, I didn't even know the Met Gala was going on or anything. I was just like, Harry's in a silly shirt, guys. Let's talk about it. And then I sent it to the group, and Ashley was like, Met Gala, great. I was like, Met Gala?
Yeah, Madrosh wanted us to talk about.
And then I
Met Gala
looked
so
at
badly.
everyone else was dressing silly, and then all of a sudden it wasn't very funny that Harry was wearing
Yeah,
his
he
funny
was actually
shirt.
one of the more serious guys. It turned out.
Exactly.
Well,
he was his outfit was muted by comparison.
Well, speaking of that, there
Subtle.
was two funny moments. I thought a classic example of Kanye zigging while everyone zags. Kanye just showed up in like a black buttoned-up shirt. He looked.
a Dickies outfit, like a Dickies jacket and jeans.
It was kind of shiny, though.
It reminds me of like extended relatives that show up to your wedding and everyone's in a suit, but then it's like the one relative that literally just wears like a Hawaiian shirt or something. Like they're not changing for shit. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
also Kanye probably knew that he would get more attention by doing the thing. Because if he dressed up super absurd, he just blend in with everybody else.
Yep.
But in some ways, it's like he should lose his invite then.
Yeah, maybe
Like,
he'll get invited
like
next
this
year.
is a big like embrace the theme or embrace what everybody's doing. Because here's the thing: is if everybody was like, "No, I'm cool like Kanye, and I'm going to be different," when it's like this is a specific thing. He's like, it just feels so like I don't know. Everybody could do it. Like everyone could just not try, and then it's like it works. You know?
Yeah,
like
but,
it's
but
such
he knows,
a cop out.
No, but he knows that he'd be one of the only people that would do that, which kind of makes him stand out in his own way, in his own artistic statement. That's what makes him unique. I don't know. Oh, also, the other person who did was Frank Ocean, who everyone said just looked like a security guard. He had like a very security guard looking outfit on. And I thought it was kind of entertaining. Hey, Erica, do you pay attention to this?
Not at all.
Oh, you don't care, eh?
No, but I saw Kendall and Kylie. They looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Kendall.
Erica, would you say you're more of a Victoria's Secret fashion show kind of gal?
No,
Not on either of those wavelengths.
no.
Interesting.
The Victoria's Secret fashion show, I thought it got canceled last year.
Oh, really?
Did
Well,
it?
because they said they'll never have trans models or like anyone other than like a cisgendered woman ever
Really?
in the show. Yeah.
I'm never
So-
shopping there ever again.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't look so good in the outfits anyway.
I could pull it off. I'm naturally curvy. Just get me some
The
glittery
Ashley
wings.
Green
and-
of our generation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, do we have anything to say about
Yeah,
Met Gala?
so Met Gala, keep it or toss it?
Should it stay or should it go?
Put on Twitter poll. This is like morning radio.
Well, I think like it is interesting. It's like, obviously royalty in England is this big sort of pastime. It's this thing that people can look to as like, I don't know what it is that people get out of like the monarchy, if it's aspirational or just something to sort of pass the time or something to gossip about. I guess in America, obviously celebrities are our version of royalty, and the Met Gala is sort of like this opulent thing that we all get to look at the photos and be like, oh, imagine to be so exclusive and so beautiful and so important. Do you think that these things are like good and inherent to American culture in a time when we're always talking about inequality of like wealth and how people are struggling? Like, do we still need nice things, and is it important?
I don't mind a couple nice things.
I like nice things.
Yeah.
You like iPads?
Yeah.
Especially when don't get into it.
Don't bring it up. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, like, what's the fine line? I mean, in terms of, that whole conversation, there's a million other way more egregious things than like one night of the year where people like dress up in an arty kind of way.
And the charity's for the arts too, though, I believe. So
Yeah,
it's like,
that's true.
I think, and by the way, my opinion personally is like, I do think we need, like, if you don't have the arts, like the arts is sort of like, to me, sort of a sign of a healthy society. It means that we've done so well sort of collectively that we can afford to have these things. We're not in a wartime or super impoverished or whatever. But I do wonder, like, when and maybe this is like a Twitter echo chamber, there's this sort of like real push for like an equalization of wealth. It's interesting that we still sort of like celebrate these things and they're so popular too.
There's definitely a narrative I saw on the internet, like in real time last night, where people were complaining about how, like, a bunch of billionaires who control art that they stole from other cultures are celebrating themselves.
Interesting.
I like to look at people in silly shirts, as Shane would say, like Harry
Yeah.
Styles. I'm all for it.
And everyone can donate $1
Oh,
for
this is
Donate a Buck Day, which we gotta get that date down. Apparently, there's a rival charity that
Called
does
Giving Tuesday.
Giving Tuesday, but I think we can take it down. So, what's a good month where there is no?
I think
charity?
Giving Tuesday's every Tuesday though for the whole
Yeah.
year.
No, well, that's not going to work then.
Okay.
It's in December.
Yeah, people.
Oh.
money's flowing in December. The holidays, everything. People
I
are
feel
doing
like people
well.
are strapped for cash.
No,
in December.
corporate giving, though.
No,
A
yeah,
lot of
bonuses come in. and
corporations have to hit their threshold for giving. So a lot of
Yeah.
charities do fundraising in December to get that
Yeah.
low-hanging fruit.
Okay, well, let's pick a day in December then. December 10th work?
Why December 10th?
I don't know. Feels like a nice number.
I
10?
stopped listening to the show a long time ago, so I'm unfamiliar with Buck Day or whatever you're
Well,
calling it.
I'm starting a charity where everyone just
Finally, a side project for you.
where everyone gives $1 on a day, and it's called Buck a Day Day.
And what does the dollar go to?
Wow, is this the elevator pitch? Shit. Good luck, brother.
And then we give all the money to charity.
He's really thought this through.
I am in.
The worst episode of Shark Tank ever.
Well, you're always going
I
about.
will invest.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, aren't you always going on about Occam's razor? Or whatever?
Yeah, sometimes the simplest explanation is the...
There you go. What's
the answer.
more? Come on, don't over complicate it.
don't overthink it,
I'm
Birchie.
in. Buck Day.
But
All right.
Sign me
Bucket
up.
Day.
So let's segue to, speaking of opulence and extreme wealth, the royal baby.
Oh yeah.
So Harry...
Another one I don't really care about. to be honest.
You picked the
I
topics.
know.
You come in here. You said the Met Gala, the royal baby, and now 2 for 2 you've gone, I don't really have an opinion.
So you think there shouldn't be a royal baby?
Should the royals keep procreating? That is the topic today. Max, that's a heavy stance
That's a
to
hot
take.
take.
Yeah.
Wow. Down with the monarchy.
Yeah, we don't care about the monarchy. Do we?
Oh, I care big time.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm
so
British.
I think
fascinated by
Nut
people-
grew up in a home maybe where they like had like the commendable like plates with like the picture of Princess Diana.
100%.
I knew that about you.
Actually, we do have a picture of the Queen of England in our basement somewhere,
As you should.
like next to the
It was
next
in
to
the
the
living
laundry.
room, but then through time.
God save the queen.
But why do we care about the monarchy?
I don't know if we should actually care. I just think that the queen gets a bad rap. Like, she's. I do.
She's worthy of our sympathies, guys. She's had a tough go.
So she's underrated.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a hot
I
take.
take the queen is underrated. Yeah, she's given her whole life to public service. I think that's
Wait.
nice.
Okay.
She has.
You know what? If anything, I actually kind of feel bad for the royal family because you're just born into it. You had no choice in the matter.
Yeah,
and
sounds
you were
like a
just
nightmare.
assigned. Well, I mean, as far as life outcomes go, I guess they're fortunate. But also, it's a pretty heavy burden, I think.
Big time.
Like, I mean, there's some people that obviously would be like, "Yo, this is sick," and on a certain level, it's all that you know if you're born into it. But it's like, I'm actually more confused by people who want to marry into it. Like, if you're Meghan Markle, you could have had any dude.
But kids are raised, like especially little girls, to be princesses.
I suppose. I guess you can actually.
Are you raising your child to subscribe to stereotypical gender norms?
No way. We're
What-
trying to make her to be the first woman in the NBA.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually what the Bucket Day donations for.
Yeah,
Her
there's a
training.
training camp.
It's a worthy cause.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're a sports family, and all of Alex's female relatives were Hall of Fame like sports athletes, so we're very hopeful.
So, what kind of children's shows do you guys watch in the Cunningham household?
You dress her
The
in pink?
1998 finals on repeat
Yeah.
with Michael Jordan.
Best of Karl Malone.
Well, I have this Jason Williams compilation tape where it's 8 hours long. I literally
Just
have
a
this,
passing?
Yeah, of him doing all of his best passes from his college days through every year of his NBA career, and it's 8 hours long.
And
so.
you just put that on and sit her in front of the
Well,
TV.
that was my original plan. I had it in a little iPad, but then Alex said no screen time. So,
Oh.
yeah. I didn't know babies weren't really supposed to be staring at screens all day. So,
That's funny you say that. I showed you this photo the other day. So like I was like hanging with my daughter it was like a Sunday, and so I went and like got a Domino's, and then came back home, and Danica was out running errands, and then she was like, "Oh, how are things going with the baby?" And I took a photo, and it was like the Domino's, like my cheesy bread, the baby in like her little like thing, and then the TV had like the Bucks Celtics game on, and the baby was just like 2 feet in front of it, staring at the TV. It was like the most classic dad afternoon,
Yeah.
and I was gonna post it on Instagram, but I didn't because I felt like the world would judge me for the screen time.
but in the photo, she's looking at you.
She is, because I said Winnie, and then she immediately went
But
back.
you could
to
always maintain that she was looking at you the whole time.
That's true. I'll just lie.
She's just trained.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
You don't watch, like she doesn't watch, quote unquote, little girl shows?
Oh no. But to Shane's point, in a larger sense, like we limit screen time for sure. We just don't want her staring at her phones or at her like.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah. I mean, that's all the conversation in itself. But yeah, I was like in the elevator the other day. I think in your building, and there's like a little kid, like just like like staring at his little iPhone
Yeah.
or whatever. Like there's kids are on the phone.
A little kid had an iPhone.
Yeah, or whatever it is, like
Wow.
an iPad.
Or the parents give them the phone and they go
Yeah.
through it. And, you know,
But
I mean,
Sesame Street's a good show. I like watching that.
we PVR Sesame Street. That's on the show.
So
Watch that
that's
sometimes.
okay on screen
If you
time.
give her a half hour of Sesame Street,
That
it's
Letter
cool.
of the Day song is so catchy, eh?
I haven't watched it.
Oh, no?
Danica and the baby watch it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I got a job, bro. But I guess you watch when you go home.
Yeah, I'm watching it on weekends.
So back to the royal baby for a second.
Yeah,
it's gonna
so-
be the first half or part black baby too.
What do you think of that?
Or a quarter black, probably, right?
Well, she's the first sort of mixed person to marry into the royal family.
Yeah.
That's why it was such a huge deal for people because it's like
You didn't know Meghan Markle was black?
No,
Breaking news.
it is hot.
What
hot
did you
news
think?
For me.
Tan?
I thought I didn't.
Have you ever seen a photo of her?
Yeah, used to watch Suits all the time.
Oh. What did you think she was?
An attractive woman? I
Wow.
don't know. Like, yeah.
That doesn't see color, guys.
Love is mine.
Yeah.
No, hey, good. That's great.
Yeah.
I just had no idea. That's really taken me by surprise here.
You
It's
know-
like that episode of Seinfeld where Elaine and her boyfriend both think that they're in a mixed race relationship, and they're just not.
I have a history of thinking that people who definitely aren't Asian are Asian. Like Mike D's first girlfriend was an Italian girl. I was like, it's really cool you're dating an Asian.
Well, this is
I thought
true.
Lights was Asian
But
too.
the-
But it's only
Lights?
I thought Lights was Asian.
Well,
for
I
the
will
first-
say for the first,
I can see
I
it.
actually only found out a week ago that Mike is of Asian descent.
Yeah, Indonesian.
You didn't know that?
I'm part
Well,
Indonesian.
I was just like, that's a cute baby you have. Like, you know, I was kind of just like, because Winnie has like some pretty like.
She looks.
some Asian
unique.
characters.
I'm
Yeah,
afraid
definitely.
to say the wrong thing, but she's cute as fuck, this kid. And but I was like, wow, like she's got some real like Asian, you know, physical qualities. And I had no idea that your dad, I guess, your side of the family was
Indonesian.
Indonesian. That's
Yeah,
what it is. Because
yeah.
I thought you were from Holland.
Well, we're Dutch Indonesian, so it's a mix. It's like, yeah. So I mean, we talked about this on another pod, but so yeah, essentially, it's like it's Dutch, French, and then Indonesian. But
Yeah, so my point is, if I didn't know that Mike was Asian, I certainly didn't know that Meghan Markle was black. But great.
Well, we're learning a lot on this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Very
Actually,
exploratory.
speaking of that, I got my sister sent me 23 or ancestry.ca results, which is
you
also
did them.
Ooh, I'm getting my mom that for Mother's Day.
well, yeah. Well, I
You
didn't
sent
do-
your DNA to them, Max.
I see. Here's the thing. I didn't, but my sister did.
She's
And
your
then-
happened to me.
DNA.
Yeah.
And then my sister sent it. I was like, oh man, I should probably get mine done too. And then I was like, wait a second,
Max.
we got the same.
But that's
DNA.
not true. I thought
Really?
that too. It can be.
How can it not be true?
Your genetics can be split up differently. So the way your parents' genes are, you can get a abnormal amount from your dad and one sibling, and the other person can get very little from the dad and can get more from the mom.
So the percentages are different, but
Yeah.
the building blocks have to be the same.
Yeah, I was listening to this on Joe Rogan, and he was explaining it. And maybe Ancestry.com or 23andMe are a sponsor, and he's trying to get everyone to just buy more.
Yeah.
But
No. You and your siblings all have to do the test, or
Yeah,
else it's not gonna
exactly.
count. Yeah.
But he
so
explained it
Max,
pretty
hit us with it. I'm
So,
excited.
I mean, it's not that surprising to be honest. So I'm 50% European Jewish. So that's my dad's side. He's like, because he got his thing done recently. It's like he was so disappointed. He was like, I was hoping it would be something kind of exciting, like a little bit of African or Asian. Nothing. He's 100% Ashkenazi Jew. I never know how to say Ashkenazi. You know, Ashkenazi.
We don't know either.
Yeah,
It's like if you're like a Eastern European Jewish person, so Russian, Polish, whatever, and then 32% England, Wales, Northwestern Europe, 11% France, bonjour, comment ça va, 5%
Only 11% with that accent?
wow.
yeah, 5% Irish, Scottish, and then 2% Eastern Europe and Russia. That's all I got. So,
You're very European.
guess
yeah.
what?
What?
I'm part Jew.
Come on, you're part of the tribe.
Yeah, 4%.
Come on.
Yeah,
That's hey, congrats, buddy.
yeah. Okay, am I allowed to say that word?
Percent?
Short
Oh.
form Jewish of Jew.
Well, here's the thing. Louis C.K. has this whole bit about that word specifically. It kind of depends on how you say the word. Because if you're like, you Jew, like that's...
yeah, I wasn't saying it like that.
No, but if you're like, I'm a Jew, like it kind of depends on
And
the...
yeah.
if there is a moral compass we should be looking to today, it's Louis C.K.
Well,
for sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but that's
well, we're
the bit.
segueing into him next.
Yeah, we're going to get into Louis C.K. in a
But
minute.
I'm a Jew.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, the Jewish people have this rule that it only gets passed on if it's your mom's side, and in my case, it's my dad's side. So I don't get to call myself
So
a Jewish
I'm
person.
more Jewish.
If it's
than
on your
you.
mom's side, you might be.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know what
Didn't look
shad
at the
is?
splits.
Uh-huh. Well, my favorite becoming a Jewish person story is our friend John Populus. You heard of this, right? You know the story, right?
He's our co-host on the Pedestal, the movie podcast we do. Go check it out. Me, Shane, and John
Tell me.
Populus.
Oh, so
You were in the room.
So John,
Sometimes I'm not listening. I zone out.
so John grew up in a Jewish neighborhood and always kind of considers himself an honorary Jewish guy because all of his
That's
friends
his whole crew is all
growing up.
Jewish guys, yeah.
Turns out that his grandpa was adopted and is actually Jewish. So his whole life thought he was this very Greek guy because
Yeah.
John Populus, and he looks like a big Greek guy
Yeah.
too. But he turns out he's like 50% or 25% Jewish.
Wow.
And so he was so excited. It made him so happy. And he called his friends. He's like, and this is after being friends with these guys for like 20 years at this point. Like, guys, you'll never guess. I'm part of the tribe. He was so excited.
Oh, he really bought it. And I couldn't get a hold of him on Passover. It was crazy.
Yeah, taking
Man,
advantage of all the holidays.
we got these kits and I haven't done them yet. I really hope I'm Jewish.
I want to know what your
You might be.
situation is now.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed for Jewish.
I know.
You grow a good beard.
Let's go. Right?
Yeah.
Is that a
You-
Jewish
you-
quality?
No, but I'm saying you could be like Viking or something.
No,
Oh, he's Icelandic.
No, you could.
Yeah.
If you wore the Jewish hat.
What is that little hat called?
The yarmulke.
Yarmulke.
Yeah.
Would it be weird if I started wearing one?
Oh my god! For 4%.
It has the 4% number on it.
It's embroidered.
He's very proud. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever do an ancestor. Maybe I would. I don't know.
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. I feel weird about sending my DNA into a company.
I think it's more for like white guys who are worried they have nothing interesting going on with them. If
That's
you
why
already
I'm
have
doing
something
it.
cool going on, you're not like, I really want to see.
But
yeah,
you-
like I'm happy with my my.
They do
my
that genetic
background.
testing too, though, where you can see if you're like predisposed.
That's the word, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Do they do spelling?
Well, I apparently have a bad phonetic gene, but yeah, apparently they'll tell you if you have like cancerous traits and things
sure.
like.
Oh, wow.
But then apparently, craziness, the insurance company can then request access to that
Yeah.
and deny you coverage. So it's a
This
real
is what I'm
slippery
saying.
There's
slope.
some big brother
man.
shit going on for
There's
sure.
some big brother shit.
Yeah. Okay, so the Royal Baby. Ultimately, there's a huge. Everybody's excited about it.
We don't know the name yet.
You're not into the Monarch Max, even though there's some English in you. I think you said.
Yeah.
You are into it. Your family's into it.
Yeah.
You're
So
excited for the baby?
question for the group then: if you have to save either the Met Gala or the Royal Baby.
Or the Royal Baby or the Monarchy. I mean,
The Monarchy, sure.
Yeah,
We
okay.
would all
Save
say
the-
the
I saved
baby.
the baby. Yeah.
Would we rather the Monarchy or the
Oh,
Met Gala?
This is good.
Imagine the baby was at the Met Gala.
like right out the womb. They just dress it. in a
Probably
little,
got an
like,
invite.
A crazy outfit.
No, but I would save the baby.
Well, no. No, the institution of the monarchy, would you get rid of that or the Met Gala?
Oh, we're not killing people.
No.
Okay, jeez.
The
I would lose the Met Gala because the monarchy is important to Burchell.
That's a good friend.
That's very nice,
That's a
Shane.
good friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, God save the Queen.
Yeah, I mean, monarchies have been around for centuries and centuries, and it's basically,
Yeah.
society's been built on
The
them.
Met Gala's one night, monarchy's forever.
Moving forward.
Moving forward, okay, Royal Baby, we'll find out their names soon. It's a little boy. Congratulations to Harry and Meghan. The Louis C.K. thing. So I'm just going to call up exactly what it was because I sent this to, I believe, was it to you and Shane, Max? Was it just you guys?
So yeah, before we get into Louis C.K. though, I just want to say that like any kind of broader Me Too conversation, obviously there should be many different voices in the room, and right now there's 4 white dudes and Erica in the room. So I just want to say that, and I'm more interested in having a conversation about sort of like the nature of how comedy is kind of put out into the world, and the context of Louis C.K. doing that.
Okay, so Louis C.K., this is what we're going to talk about. Louis C.K. is performing in Minneapolis soon, and the Comedy Club sent out a notice because he doesn't post tour dates anymore. In addition to adding Yondor pouches to his gigs, meaning those are the things you have to put your phone in. You can't bring your phone into the club. That's what we had to do when we went and saw Dave Chappelle and John Mayer. He also requires them to share this copyright notice that I have never seen before. I've seen a comedian share or post. This is James Stonewall or Shotwall on Twitter posted this. So basically now when you go to this comedy club, you have to look at this notice, and I guess you are implicit in that you have to sort of abide by it if you go to the show. But it says copyright. Louis C.K. owns all rights in the content and materials, including any jokes and sketches, the materials delivered during these performances. The materials may not be copied, translated, transmitted, displayed, distributed, or reproduced verbatim. That would be like if we were to do a bit on the pod here or talk about what he did. in whole or in part, in any form, media, or technology now known or later developed, without the express prior written consent of Louis C.K. Any use of the materials without the express prior written consent of Louis C.K. is strictly privileged and shall be subject to all, prosecution laws. And Padma Lakshmi said, "Oh, so now Louis C.K. cares about consent."
Boom.
Funny joke.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I guess what did we want to discuss?
Well, this stems
in regards to
probably
this?
from the fact that one of his newer bits in the last year was leaked.
Yeah, what one was that? It was the one about
He did
the shooting, and he was
yes,
saying
the
that
Parkland kids.
that kid, just because you survive a shooting doesn't mean you should be given a platform. And he's like, oh, so you hid in front of the fat kid and they got shot, and now you
Doesn't make you
yeah,
special.
he was kind of
Your
going after
opinion
the
doesn't
Parkland.
matter.
It was headlines for a couple of days.
Well,
It was a bad look.
It is. So obviously, even if, let's say that hadn't been Louis C.K. that did that bit. Let's say it was, I don't care, Kevin Hart,
yeah.
right? It's not really his style, but let's say it was, right? That bit in print is always going to be brutal, and maybe it was going to be brutal regardless of how it's performed. But I guess this is kind of interesting because it's like, it's the idea of policing what you see. It's like if I go to a concert and then I want to talk to you guys about it in a public forum, he's trying to take away any and all discussion of his specific content, which is kind of interesting to me. Even if it wasn't Louis C.K. and all of his baggage and his sort of,
But for good reason, because everyone is scrutinizing his content before it's fully formed. And if you're a comedian and you're just doing like a controversial bit, which Louis C.K. does, before you actually have it exactly right, it's not going to be how it's going to end up, which is probably a lot better than the impetus of the joke. So,
Yeah.
and everyone just wants to put down the joke because it's Louis C.K., who's very vilified right now, and it's popular to put him down. And the joke's not done, so of course it's going to be bad.
Yeah, there's two conversations happening at once here. And the first thing is the idea that comedians big comedians go to small clubs to work out material, and a lot of times they're just trying shit out. And they'd admit that, like, ask any comedian, it's like, this is not the material that would make my special. This is just.
In fact, they'll say, "This is bad. Please do not record this. This is going to get."
I'm working through it.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is a universal truth for all comedians. So that's one conversation, and why any comedian would go. Like, yeah, please don't record. Like, you don't have the right to record it in this medium. And then the other conversation is Louis C.K. himself, and when do we have any patience for him being a public person anymore? And that varies from person to person. And but you see how it's like the two kind of cloud each other.
They become conflated. Yeah, it becomes a Louis C.K. thing when really it's sort of like a comedian thing.
Yeah, but then it depends on how you want to look at it. If you have no patience for Louis C.K. and think he never deserves a comeback, if that's your take, then him going, "Oh, please don't share my thing," you'd be like, "Fuck you, I don't care. You've hurt a lot of people, and you didn't apologize for it." And
Well, he did an apology that just wasn't appreciated
whatever,
because
yeah.
it wasn't a proper apology.
And we can get into the merits of that too. Anyway, it's an interesting conversation because there's a few different things happening.
It is
at once.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because like a person like Dr. Dre, he seems to be okay. Like I don't think he...
What about Dr. Dre?
Well, he beat the shit out of a woman,
Oh,
threw her down the
sure,
stairs.
yeah.
Kobe, at a rape charge, won an Oscar.
Yeah.
So it's interesting and you know, I would say Louis C.K.'s offense was far lesser than that of Kobe or Dr. Dre.
Yeah, than a physical. I mean.
Yeah, you're getting to the idea of how society picks and chooses who gets.
Well, just in severity, and I
cut
think Louis C.K. got mixed up with the Bill Cosby situation. It's hard for me to discern the difference between him and Bill Cosby, even.
What
I'm
do
like,
you mean?
oh, they all did the same thing.
Oh,
kind
sure,
of.
yeah.
Like, I don't even 100%, like, it got really muddled on what actually happened. Like, he was, I guess when you break it down, he was asking women if he could masturbate in front of them.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as like a.
No, I'm not saying that's
physically
great,
violent attack.
but I'm saying women are, like, have been raped by celebrities, and then they've won Oscars.
Still bullshit though, and I think
Of
that,
course,
like,
no one's arguing that.
Yeah, and I think that, like, for Louis, my take on it is, like, you've kind of lost the right for people, like, you've kind of lost the right for public courtesy at that point. Like, so to hide behind this bullshit, don't share my copyrights, like, because you're afraid that people are going to attack you. Like, fuck off. You don't get that luxury anymore. If you want to still go out there, and I'm not suggesting you don't have the right to go out and earn a living, but to hide behind this facade of, like, copyright infringement, like, you've
But that's not hiding behind it. But like that, he's just going back to the rules of comedy on that one. So it's like
We're trying to litigate the rules of comedy.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's like, no one's ever seen that kind of notice before. It's just it's
Dave Chappelle does stuff like this too.
well, for
'cause he's
sure.
very-
Like the not sharing so the bits don't get out, so people buy a ticket to come see the
But
show.
I'm
is
going to
just-
sue you if you tell people my jokes.
like it's I don't know. I just think that he's on the wrong side of history.
I
on this one.
mean, he's making a bad public relations move there. It's
That's
like
what it is.
he's handled this whole situation probably pretty badly. Even like
well, it's very
it's
hypocritical.
like, yeah, well, and he ought to have known that by putting that thing up, he's going to be up for public scrutiny. It's like by telling people to put the phones in the bags, you think, okay, that's a fair precaution other comedians do. This extra thing, everyone's like, okay.
Well, it's because what you do is you do the natural thought process. You go, okay, so what would happen if, say, like you go to the show and then you want to talk about it on a podcast? He finds out you talked about his like 4 major bits on a podcast. Then he's going to sue you. That's the implication of this notice. Basically, it's like you talked about my creative work and you're not allowed to on your forum. It's my creative work, meaning it can't be revealed until either released on my website or on Netflix or whatever. It's an interesting to me operating paradigm that is kind of different. It's always been implicit, meaning like don't ruin a comedian's bits on your podcast because it's bad form. It's a shitty way to operate and a shitty thing to do, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting that he's taken it a step further and he's basically saying, I will now sue you if you've done that. That's never happened in comedy before, where they're basically saying this is an actionable thing. If we saw Kevin Hart in that basement at Just for Laughs, Shane, 2 years ago, right? And then we saw him last year at the Bell Center do the exact same bit. He was working it. We saw a bit in 3 phases. So the first stage in a basement with like 40 people, which you wouldn't have been able to get nut into if he was outside of his family with 10 people. And then we saw it the next year at the Bell Center, so a massive arena in Montreal. The exact same bit, but a little bit more refined and changed. And then he just came out with it on Netflix. Fascinating to see those 3 phases, which we could get into. But ultimately, what Louis is doing is he's saying that first time you guys saw it 2 years ago, when you went on your podcast and talked about it, I don't think we blew his bits up. I don't think we did, but maybe we did a little bit, Mm-hmm. That is now Louis saying, if you do that with my shit, I can
because
sue
if
you.
we did talk about it, and we were the only outlet to talk about it, it would probably be headline news.
Yeah.
Because a lot of popular radio stations and podcasts were talking to just people in the audience like they were celebrity,
Right.
and trying to mine the entire bit. But to your point, Birchall, I guess maybe he doesn't have that right anymore. Or maybe he shouldn't have that right. And should he ever even be able to perform stand-up, do you think, again?
Yeah, I think that I'm a big believer in like consumer choice. So if people want to go see Louis C.K., that's on them. Absolutely. Great. Go see it. But like to be in his position and then, try to force this, this courtesy, if you will.
I mean, I don't think anybody, if Louis C.K. never had been a bad dude, I don't think anybody would be talking about this. It'd be like, oh, Louis C.K., he's the biggest comic in the world right now, and he's protecting his jokes. People are like, okay,
That's
fine.
an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm getting to. Is this how it's going to be going forward? Meaning, when you go to a Dave Chappelle show, they'll basically.
I think a lot of people would go, okay, that's fair
lawsuit.
enough. I think,
that's an interesting
people,
point.
yeah, because people, want to protect themselves. Erica, what do you think?
Yeah, it almost seems to me like this is him bringing in like security. You know what I mean? Not like for every other comedian in the world, it's sort of an unspoken thing that nobody would do this. But now Louis C.K. might think he has his target on his back, so he has to do something like this in order to protect himself to continue working in comedy.
Yeah. I was at the Comedy Store a couple months ago in L.A., and Ali Wong dropped in to do a set, and Ali Wong's one of the biggest comics in the world right now. And she made it clear that she was like, I mean, at the beginning of each show, the MC comes on and says, absolutely no filming any comic here tonight. If you get caught, you're booted. So, and that is reiterated on signs as you walk in. If you've been there more than once, you know that's the rule. Ali Wong's on stage. She sees out of the corner of her eye, in the corner, a fan filming her set.
Whoa.
And she said, hey, can you put your phone away? That's not fucking cool. And scolded the fan, and everybody wanted that fan probably to get booted. So this is...
It was actually Louis C.K. getting bits.
Well, at the Kevin Hart show, we saw people getting kicked out.
That had snuck. So
Yeah.
basically, they pouched all of our phones, right? I mean, this was crazy. That was like, oh, Kevin Hart, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about, yeah. So the Kevin Hart arena show, they pouched all the shows, and anybody that managed to sneak them in, there was actually a drunk woman, like a middle-aged woman, that was, I don't know if she just like snuck in and was so drunk she didn't care, but she was waving that thing around like crazy, and we were like, oh, she is going to get busted. Sure enough, like an usher comes up with like a yellow vest, they put their hand up, and then security comes in, and they're going to remove the woman. But she was dressed to the nines. Like, this was her night out. She had her glass of wine. She was with her girlfriend. You remember this, Shaney boy?
Yeah. Well, I remember, too, one of his buddies, front row, just took out to take a quick little photo. and it was like they had to kick him out.
Yeah.
And Kevin Hart didn't want him to get kicked out, but he had to because that was so much ingrained as the rule.
They were dead serious, man. It's a
Yeah.
new era of comedy.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Aziz is back, and Aziz obviously we're talking about these sort of not crimes, but these misdeeds to various degrees, and he seemed to have handled his little stumble or whatever you want to call it, because he famously went on a bad date and was sort of called out for it. I don't want to be insensitive with the language, by the way, just for our listeners.
I know it's always difficult to talk about
By the
these
way,
things.
we should let our listeners know it is definitely the context of like 4 white guys talking about this and Erica piping in occasionally is what it is, and we acknowledge that privilege that we have.
I was going to ask you, do you guys get nervous talking about this? Because as like somebody who doesn't do this often, I'm sitting here being like, oh God.
Sweating buckets.
I really am.
No, it's no, for sure. And I think having a female voice or other voices in the room for these conversations are obviously very important. And we probably should have.
Well, I think when you're talking about an opinion too, people just think you need to have the right opinion. They're like, what do you think about this? But there's only one right answer sometimes. You're allowed, I think, to have a wrong opinion and be wrong. And I think if you say up front, like, I could be wrong about this, but, and that's what I'm trying to say more and more, because I find I'm more wrong than right.
Yeah, no, I think there's merit to having conversations and learning from each other. And I think that's probably the best part of this podcast is everybody is pretty open to being wrong.
But to Birchel's point, there's always a concern because we do have a platform and we do represent ourselves. Sure. And so it's like you do worried about misstepping. Why? Because all we ever read about on Twitter and whatnot is people fucking misspeaking on a public platform and then losing everything. So yeah. So it is. And also just sensitivity. Like,
well, that's it.
I don't know who's listening, but there might be someone out there that go, listen, I had some experience and you guys are being very flippant about Louis C.K. And so like I, as like, the host of this podcast, I don't want people to listen to it and be like, wow, those guys are fucking ignorant. Like, where's the empathy? So there is that.
Are you calling the Aziz thing a bad date? I don't know if that's maybe the best way to frame it.
Yeah, I mean, what? Actually, okay, let's.
He was accused of like sexual misconduct, and again,
who
like,
Aziz was?
Yeah, and
okay.
It's hard to recount these things that's happened years ago because I wish I could have like read up on it more recently because I don't remember all the details, and that's I think where
I know
it gets sticky sometimes when we talk about stuff.
Well, I don't think he was charged with sexual.
I don't think he was charged, but somebody came out
and told a story. I think where a lot of people were calling it a bad date. That was. Like, and that might be wrong. Maybe it was more than a bad date.
It's still shitty. Like, somebody still had a shitty experience, and I think that you want to, like, you
don't want to belittle that person by dumbing it down to a bad date.
That might be one of the issues with even these conversations to begin with, is because it's like, okay, so I said Aziz Ansari went on a bad date because I think I remember that headline or something. Like, I think that's where that word choice came from. But again, like me saying that might
maybe
really
just say the woman
something.
had a terrible experience on her date.
Sure, yeah. No, and that's probably
more fair. But those two different ways of describing it could be the difference in someone losing their mind over how we talk about it. You know what I mean?
No, and that's a really good point. Is that it's like I'm belittling a woman's like
without intending
to, but just because I didn't think hard enough about my word choice. Yeah. No, that's a very good point. I think we'd all agree that any broader conversation when it comes to
broader. They're called women, Max.
Erica? No.
I make sure people heard her laughing as well.
Okay.
I did.
There is degrees in crimes, though. There is murder, and then there's a bar fight.
Yep.
And it's, are you going to police everything the same when it comes?
Brother, if you get in a bar fight with me, it will be a murder.
Mike on Much can be found on Twitter and Instagram at Mike on Much. You can subscribe to the show on any platform that has podcasts. Spotify, do it.